put together a few kind of concepts there, as you can see, both from Rami Shapiro and from Brother Wayne. I'm not sure if it's Teasdale or Teasdale. I'm not really exactly sure the exact pronunciation of his name, but he started this with the idea of that he coined in his book, The Mystic Heart, and that's how the term Interspirituality came about. And for me, it's very, very exciting for all of us and for what we do as a community here this day. And so that's why we're here with this. So, how'd you like that meditation? Good, right? I believe that Reverend Jordan's been channeling for us as a community in a lot of the work that he's been doing and getting these meditations that are coming to him. So again, it's coming back to that line in our declaration of intent where we said that interspirituality is so based on the heart. And that's what we're coming back to. So based on the heart and unconditional love that it would be impossible to feel separate from anything. So the work that we're doing and the work that we're talking about here is coming to this place of mysticism and mystery and wonder. There's a Buddhist line that talks about, that we talk about, going to the moon, and we talk about spirituality as the moon, and we're all stuck with the finger pointing at the moon, and we all get stuck on the fingers, whose hand is pointing at the moon, and this is this way and this is that way, and we're all worried about the finger pointing at the moon instead of looking at the moon. And in the ancient traditions, it's drawing down the moon. It's being of one. And that's what this mysticism is about, is being in that process of allowing that moon to be drawn down, is to keeping the focus on the moon rather than all the fingers are pointing up at the moon. That's our diversity. That's our wonderment. That's great. That's all good. But it's the place in between is where we have this completion. And we have this well-roundedness that we've been all working towards as a community. And that's why in our prayer of peace, I chose the first prayer from the space, from Apollo 8, to come to us, to remind us of that idea. So interspirituality encourages people from different spiritual traditions to, first of all, it all started out with everybody coming together to just sit together, to meditate, to do some deep dialogue, and really to sit in silence and just be with one another. To move past the dogma and doctrine, to just be in this place of coming together. And what it creates is a spiritual intimacy. And that's what we need, is becoming this multicultural society and a global society, is we need to have a place that we come to that is a mature spirituality. And this is some of the things that interspirituality offers for us. There's a line from Chief Seattle that says, "What is man without the beasts? If the beasts are gone, man would die. Great loneliness of spirit. For whatever happens to the beast happens to man. All things are connected." And this interconnectedness is what our interspirituality is. Coming heart to heart, soul to soul, in our meeting with each other. I like when Rami Shapiro talks about in our words of wisdom of what that means sort of musically, allowing that. It's not taking away, it's adding in such a deep, deep, profound way. So why? Why? Spirituality is the very breath of the inner life. It is the essential resource in the transformation of consciousness of our planet. Yes, we say each week when we come here that it's not just another step for us individually, as we are individually strengthened and renewed by the process of our coming together, but it is another step towards peace on earth, because we need to have spirituality as a process of us joining together as humankind. We're going to need spirituality to be part of the transformation of consciousness, otherwise nothing's going to change. We can have things look good on the outside, but unless the inside is joined with it, eventually it all crumbles. So spirituality, intermysticism, and interspirituality can clear the path for return of the sacred into the wider community, because that's what we move away from. When we focus too much on the outside, we lose the sacred. And this place of interspirituality is that coming back to that, because that's where we get our completion. As we heard in our song, "In you I am complete," in that sacredness, in that coming back to that place, this is where completion lies. And there is this dawning of this renaissance that is going on now on a global reach, and we are all a part of it, each and every one of us, as we come together with this. So the purpose then here is spirituality is a profoundly transformative when it inspires us in the attitude to surrender to the mystery to which we live and move and have our being. To surrender to the mystery in which we live and move and have our being. That's the whole point of our meditation. Surrender to that mystery, surrender to that oneness, surrender to that place of completion, because it is in there that we become everything we have ever meant to be. Surrender, surrender, letting go. People's hearts must change before structures can change. This change is the basis for genuine reform and renewal. And we all need to understand, to really grasp this at that elemental level, that the definitive revolution for our planet is a spiritual awakening. The definitive revolution for our planet is a spiritual awakening. And this revolution is the task of what we're talking about now with this interspiritual age. It is a blending of all of these together, not to make something new, but that we can all finally live in it so completely, so richly, so profoundly, that we are constantly in that mystery, constantly in that place of surrender. And what that comes back to is the simple things of some of the things that the kids are working on today, is the simple thing like the golden rule. That idea that was implanted in each and every one of the traditions. All the things that we talk about, going beyond the dogma and the doctrine to what is that core thing? What's that thing that's the same, that we root ourselves in and we live in? And then we take this golden rule, and what we do is we make it more insightful. So instead of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, always do for others what you want them to do for you. So it's really like a way of compassionately communicating, compassionately being with others, and really doing it from this larger sense. Not because I want you to change, because I want everything to change. We want to live from this higher spiritual purpose and perspective. This is exciting stuff. Real exciting stuff that's happening right before us. And it comes with values. It's talking about living lives of values of love, compassion, kindness, gentleness of being, sharing of resources, ecological responsibility, peace, and genuineness on a global scale of understanding and multiculturalism. It's about living an enlightened society of meaning, purpose. You know, when Mother Teresa first came to the United States, she said it was one of the most impoverished places she had ever seen because of the lack of purpose, meaning that we all seem to walk around with in our lives, despite all of the wondrous materialisms we seem to have accomplished. So it's going back to these places. And if we think about those people that do, the Dalai Lama, somebody who's walking today, and when he goes to an event that's quote-unquote interfaith, he's not there for the interfaithness of it. He doesn't want to dialogue about, well, my faith does it this way, and your faith does it that way, and let's talk about the way the different faiths do it. He wants to say, let's go to the soul of it, let's go to that inner place of it, let's go to that place beyond all of the extremities, to come to that mystic heart, to really be in intimacy from a spiritual perspective with each other, so that we can be in that knowing place, of that complete place, of being in that oneness that is constantly calling to each and every one of us to surrender to this, to live in this, to live in a place of beingness that is beyond any of the things that we've ever imagined in our lives. This is so wonderful. But there are elements to living in this universal spirituality, or this mysticism, which Brother Wayne had brought about, and I thought they were interested, so I thought I would talk to you about them. And I think it's something as a community that we can deepen and work towards. His book, The Mystic Heart, is a book that we can work with as a community. And these elements that he talks about that we could then incorporate and develop and deepen within ourselves. And these are the elements of universal spirituality and mysticism that are included in the concept of interspirituality. And the first is an actualized moral capacity, and which is that it's just really fully actualizing and that broadening our perspective of that moral compass. Those people, like, you know, it's living in that way of like, I do it not because somebody's looking. I do it because that's really who I am. And if nobody's looking, I'm still living the same way as if I would be living if everybody's watching, or I'm on the camera here, or something else is happening. That living from that capacity and that sense of being, that knowing that the other side, that's living from that perspective of the spiritual principles that we talk about a lot, and bringing that into the situation. Someone like Mother Teresa is walking through the streets of Calcutta, and she's seeing with spiritual eyes rather than seeing the poverty that's around. That doesn't mean she didn't do anything about it. She did a lot about it, but she didn't see it with the same eyes. So she wasn't distraught by it. She wasn't taken down by it. She was able to uplift it because of what she brought into it. And that's living with this capacity that we're talking about, an actualized moral capacity. Another element would be the solidarity with the earth and all beings. Going back to Chief Seattle, we have to come back to that sense of what we're doing and how we are affected. And really coming to a place of connection with that. You know, we talk about, we have health groups here, and we talk about it, and then some paths that talk about vegetarianism, some talk about eating meat. And what I'm talking about is not about what you do, it's how you do it. Did you thank the food for giving itself? Because a plant gives itself just as much as an animal gives itself. Have we made that interconnection with it? And respected it? And moved from that place? And this is all important stuff for the way elements of living. The third thing he talks about is a deep nonviolence. And a lot of talk in the interspirituality realm comes from the idea of bringing the concepts of Jainism. Jains, one of the wondrous people who love gathering of light, who love the work that they do, because the core of that nonviolence that comes in. Nonviolence in such a sense that it comes from your very being. The thoughts are not violent. The communication process are not violent. And that includes when you're in the car all alone and nobody else is around. That place of immense violence that we have in our lives. But we think it's okay. I'm telling you today, somebody's watching. It's you. It's you. It's your inner heart. It's your inner being that is calling you for you to move out of that place. This deep nonviolence. 4 is humility of heart. Living lives of humility. Doing it because we do it, not because somebody has to recognize that we're doing it and point it out. One of the processes that we're working on would be compassionate communication. Is one of the groups we're trying to get together, is nonviolent communication. And part of that thing is also not working on that place of rewards and for punishment, but working out of a place because it's just really what we really want, the real way to live. But a lot of us lose that sense of humility and that seeking of reward, needing to be acknowledged, that we can come out of that neediness in a place of humility of heart. Spiritual practice is a big part of this. Yes, daily, every single day, a spiritual practice. We talk about it over and over again. We talk about meditation books. We talk about these things, that this is so important. I don't care what you do. I just care that you do it every single day. Whether you get up in the morning and you start chanting, or you stand on your head, or you do spins, or you do meditations, whatever it is that you do, you make that connection on a daily basis over and over again, and not come into the day in expectation and saying, well, I did it yesterday, so I'm okay for today. It's never okay to cut off from your beingness, from that oneness. You deserve better than that. So a daily spiritual practice. A mature self-knowledge grows as one of the other elements. Simplicity of life and lifestyle. Not living with too much, even though we have the capacity to it. Live in a simple lifestyle. Love in action, compassionate service, things that we as a community have been able to do and reach out for. I continually am so amazed, so blessed, and feel so honored to be part of this community that's constantly reaching out to the homeless and being available when situations occur in our world. We've been there. Families on a genuine one-to-one basis have been helped, that were involved in the storms, in the hurricanes, through our community. Mothers being able to have tools to continue to live our lives. Compassionate service, the way our volunteers step up and show up and do for each other. That we can all walk in here and know that Marcy's been here and the table looks great out back. You know, all these things that go on as a community. Compassionate service, serving each other. And then the ninth element in this interspirituality, sense of beingness, is that idea of prophetic voice and action. And you heard that in your meditation today. And we hear that in our conversations with each other, where each one says to the other, from that place of the mystic heart, those exact words we needed to hear. That exact thing that just clicked us in and tuned us on. And we ask the other person, what'd you just say? And they go, I don't know. And that's where you know, oh, the prophetic words. Because it was just that connection, it was just that place that brought us together. And it will happen over and over again, more and more, as we live these ideals and these elements of this place of interspirituality. So all these elements, all these aspects come to this place of a twofold awareness, a vertical awareness and a horizontal awareness. And I love to talk about that. Vertical awareness is that place of oneness. I get rooted in my spirituality, in my work, this way. And then I take that and I bring it horizontally into the rest of my experience of the world. And then my reaching horizontally goes out beyond the actual horizon. And so that's what we do in this work, and that is what this work can do. It can bring that a direct awareness with divine reality, with spirit, with God, with infinite consciousness, with all of those things that you want to call it. It grounds our spiritual commitment. It brings us to a place of wonderment. What a way to live! What a way to live. And what a world to live in. Such a sense of completion and heart-centered, unconditional, loving lives. This is the call of interspirituality. This is the basis of our community. Together, I am honored to be a part of this gathering of light. Together, we are changing the world. And so it is.
So it is.